We're going to be learning about 14 AWS Direct Connect strategies. I'm Chris, Cloud Architect and founder of SystemsArchitect.io and CodeGuides.io. Subscribe to the channel and like this video. A single network link between your data center and the cloud is fragile. One break can take everything behind it down. The difference between a resilient network and a fragile one comes down to a handful of design decisions. Those get made before the first cross-connect is ever ordered. Getting AWS Direct Connect right means faster, more predictable performance and tighter security. It also means a network that survives a fiber cut or hardware failure. This video walks through 14 strategies for planning, securing, and operating Direct Connect. 14 AWS Direct Connect strategies. 1. Implement redundant Direct Connect connections. 2. Use LAG link aggregation groups. 3. Enable BFD bidirectional forwarding detection. 4. Implement Direct Connect gateway. 5. Configure backup VPN connections. 6. Monitor Direct Connect with CloudWatch. 7. Use private VIFs for VPC access. 8. Implement public VIFs for AWS public services. 9. Plan for appropriate bandwidth. 10. Configure BGP routing properly. 11. Implement transit gateway integration. 12. Use MACsec encryption. 13. Implement resource access management. 14. Document network architecture. 1. Implement redundant Direct Connect connections. Example: why does a single circuit matter so much? Relying on one Direct Connect circuit is risky. One cut fiber or one facility outage can sever your AWS connection entirely. The stronger approach is 2 separate Direct Connect locations. Ideally, those are served by different network providers. Business-critical workloads often go even further, splitting across 2 AWS regions entirely. That diversity costs more upfront, but it's far cheaper than the downtime one point of failure eventually causes. Map out every shared component, right down to the building's power feed. Confirm a true second path really exists. 2. Use LAG link aggregation groups. A link aggregation group, or LAG, bundles several physical connections together. It behaves like one logical connection to AWS. This combines their bandwidth and adds automatic failover. Traffic simply redistributes if one member link goes down. LAG members must share the same bandwidth. They must also terminate at the same Direct Connect location. A good practice is to size the LAG with headroom. Losing one member link should still leave acceptable throughput. 3. Enable BFD, bidirectional forwarding detection. Standard BGP failure detection can take tens of seconds. That delay means dropped traffic and frustrated users. Bidirectional forwarding detection, or BFD, works differently. It sends lightweight hello packets at sub-second intervals. A failure gets caught in a fraction of the time. AWS supports BFD on Direct Connect virtual interfaces. Routers can fail over in seconds instead of minutes. Without it, your redundancy exists mostly on paper. Tune BFD timers to your router vendor's recommended values. Overly tight timers can trigger false failovers. 4. Implement Direct Connect gateway. Without a Direct Connect gateway, a connection ties to virtual interfaces. Overlay point 04.jpg5.disn. Those typically reach only one region and one account. Direct Connect gateway removes that limit entirely. It acts as a globally distributed routing hub. One connection can reach multiple VPCs across regions. It can even reach different accounts in an organization. This simplifies architecture for multi-region companies. It also reduces the cross-connects and ports they need. Traffic still travels over the AWS backbone, not the public internet. That preserves the private, predictable performance Direct Connect is known for. Centralize gateway design early, before teams provision connections independently. 5. Configure backup VPN connections. Even a well-designed redundant setup can occasionally fail entirely. A regional fiber event can hit every physical path at once. Layering a site-to-site VPN on top gives you a fallback. It runs over the public internet instead of dedicated circuits. Performance won't match dedicated bandwidth, but degraded connectivity beats no connectivity at all. AWS supports VPN as a BGP-based backup path. Failover can then happen automatically based on route preference. Test that VPN failover path periodically. An untested backup is one you can't fully trust. 6. Monitor Direct Connect with CloudWatch. Why does silent degradation matter more than an outright failure? A silently degrading connection is often worse than one that fails outright. The symptoms just look like vague application slowness. CloudWatch tracks connection state, error rates, and utilization. Alarms on these metrics catch problems early. A failing transceiver gets flagged before it hits customers. Pairing CloudWatch with BGP monitoring gives full visibility. Alarm on trends, not just hard thresholds, since gradual decay often precedes sudden failure. 7. Use private VIFs for VPC access. A private virtual interface, or VIF, connects your network directly to a VPC. It never touches the public internet. AWS postdoc.07.jpg5 slide, it connects to a virtual private gateway or a direct connect gateway. That keeps the traffic path entirely private. This matters for security and compliance. Sensitive data never crosses shared internet infrastructure. Private VIFs also deliver consistent low latency. There is no contention from public internet traffic. Reserve private VIFs for internal application traffic. Keep public service access on a separate interface. This comes from systemsarchitect.io. See the full section there. Also be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more and check the video notes for links. 8. Implement public VIFs for AWS public services. A public virtual interface reaches AWS public services over Direct Connect. Amazon S3 and DynamoDB are common examples. That beats routing the same traffic over the internet. It keeps latency more consistent and can reduce data transfer costs. A public VIF advertises all of AWS's public IP ranges, so it needs more deliberate route filtering than a private VIF. It also requires your own public autonomous system number. That's a real planning difference from private addressing. Work with your network team early to size the route filters. An unfiltered public VIF can pull in far more routes than expected. 9. Plan for appropriate bandwidth. Direct Connect ports come in a range of speeds. The wrong choice either throttles your apps or wastes spend. Base sizing on real transfer patterns, batch jobs, backups, replication. Don't size only for steady state load. Needs tend to grow fast as more workloads migrate to AWS. Build in headroom for the next planning cycle. CloudWatch utilization metrics refine that estimate continuously. LAGs make scaling easy too. You just add a connection instead of re-architecting. 10. Configure BGP routing properly. Direct Connect uses BGP to exchange routes. How you configure that session determines your traffic's path. Proper route filtering means advertising only intended prefixes. It also means accepting only routes you actually need. AS path prepending engineers traffic across multiple connections. It makes one path look less preferable than another. A backup path then only gets used when needed. Getting local preference and MED values wrong causes trouble. It's a common cause of asymmetric routing, where traffic splits direction. Document your intended policy, then verify actual behavior. 11. Implement transit gateway integration. As VPCs and connections multiply, point-to-point routing gets unwieldy. AWS Transit Gateway acts as a central routing hub. A single direct connect gateway can then reach many VPCs. It does this through one simplified path, not many interfaces. That consolidation lowers both cost and complexity. Transit gateway route tables also give you centralized control. You decide which VPCs can reach which networks. Design those tables around trust boundaries from the start. Retrofitting segmentation later is far more disruptive. 12. Use MACsec encryption. Direct connect traffic runs over dedicated circuits, but dedicated doesn't automatically mean encrypted at the link layer. MACsec, or Media Access Control Security, adds line rate encryption at layer 2. It protects data as it physically moves to the location. Because it operates below the network layer, it secures everything. No application changes are required at all. Availability depends on the specific port speed and location. For regulated industries like healthcare or finance, this often matters most. Confirm MACsec support at your chosen location first. 13. Implement resource access management. Large organizations often centralize connections in one networking account. That beats a separate connection for every team. AWS Resource Access Manager lets that account share gateway associations. Other accounts in an organization can then use the same connection. That's far more cost-effective than each team standing up its own. Expensive cross-connects get shared instead of duplicated. It also keeps security centralized under one networking team. Pair that sharing with clear tagging and usage reporting. 14. Document network architecture. Why does documentation matter this much? Complexity piles up over time. Connections, LAGs, interfaces, BGP policies, ASNs, and IP schemes stack up fast. Good documentation turns a 3 a.m. outage into a manageable incident. Knowing a backup path exists isn't the same as knowing how to invoke it under pressure. Documentation is also critical during personnel transitions. The engineer who remembers a policy's reasoning may be gone. Treat it as a living artifact and review it regularly against the running configuration. To wrap up, a resilient direct connect deployment layers all 14 strategies together. No single one is sufficient alone. Redundant connections, LAGs, and BFD build physical resilience. Direct Connect Gateway and Transit Gateway integration keep the architecture manageable at scale. Monitoring, encryption, resource sharing, and documentation sustain the whole system over time. Together, these practices turn Direct Connect into a genuinely resilient backbone for your hybrid cloud. Thanks for checking out this video. Hope you liked it and subscribe to the channel. Find a lot more articles and guides both on systemsarchitect.io and codeguides.io. Again, that's systemsarchitect.io and codeguides.io.